Hello, I'm Truman and this is the Park Tool YouTube channel. Recently, we did a video on how to identify right and left-handed pedals. In that video, we did not discuss why pedals are right-hand specific and left-hand specific. And that's what we're gonna be discussing in this video. And the short answer is mechanical precession. Okay. Some of you may have a better idea of what mechanical precession is than I do, but some of you may not. So I'm going to do my best to explain to you what it is as I have come to understand it using visual examples from the bike world. Here I have what I feel is a simple and appropriately exaggerated example of mechanical precession. We have a rod that's about half the diameter of the pedal's hole, and we have an old crank set so that we don't mar up the threads here. So don't flame me for having this crank set on this cool bike. This rod is fairly long so that we have some more weight on the outboard side. This weight simulates the rider. The rider's weight is always going down on the pedals. I have a mark on the crank on both the top and the bottom in white. This rod has a white mark on it as well as a green mark on it, 180 degrees from one another. We're going to start with the white mark up towards the other white mark, and we're going to give it a whirl. Wowza! So, let's take a closer look here. We no longer have the white line going upwards on the rod, it's now the green one. So that tells us that this rod turned 180 degrees within that hole. And if you watched carefully, you noticed that this was turning clockwise, which would mean that the pedal's spindle would be turning clockwise, which is why we want a right-handed thread so that it'll tighten under normal riding conditions if it were to ever loosen for whatever reason. But what happens on the left-hand side of the bike? Let's flip this bike around and take a look. Now, to show you the opposite happening, we have the rod installed on the left-hand crank. This time we're starting with the green up and a green mark on the left-hand crank, and we're gonna rotate this just like you would rotate it during pedaling. Let's go. So we saw the rod turning counterclockwise, left to the left. So if the left-hand pedal was left-hand threaded, it would tighten. And that is why the left-hand pedal is left-hand threaded. I think I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking that that crank arm has a left-hand thread in it, and this rod is just following the thread. And the same thing happened on the right-hand side. So this is only rotating because of the threads. You're gonna check this out, We're gonna take this crank arm off, we're gonna put it onto the right-hand side, and we're gonna see what happens. All right, let's give this left-hand crank arm with a left-hand thread on the right-hand side of the bike a go. Just like the right-hand threaded crank arm on the right-hand side, the left-hand threaded crank arm on the right-hand side turned the exact same way. So it is not the threading inside the crank that is causing this to happen. It is mechanical precession. I've shown you precession happening, but that does not mean that we fully understand it. But what helped me get a better understanding of it was thinking about the pedal spindle and the hole in the crank arm as gears. This would have an outer gear on it, so it has teeth on the outside, and this has teeth on the inside. So essentially making this into a small little pinion gear and this into an annular gear. Under normal circumstances, when your pedal is tight to your crank, they are spinning 1 to 1. 1 revolution of the crank nets you 1 revolution of the spindle. But once that spindle is loose inside the crank, mechanical precession enters the equation. And now that spindle will turn in addition to that 1 revolution. And we saw this with our exaggerated example of the rod. When we had that rod in there, it looked like it turned a half a revolution. But that's 1/2 revolution added to the 1 revolution of the crank. So the rod turned 1.5 rotations, which is the same ratio as a 30-tooth chainring coupled with a chain to a 20-tooth rear sprocket. So we've seen this happen with a rod. We've tried to think about it a little bit more theoretically, more mathematically in the form of gear ratios. But I want to show you this actually happening with a bicycle pedal. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch this crank arm back to the right-hand pedal. We're going to install a pedal on it. We're going to hang a little weight, and we're going to rotate this, and we're going to do a time lapse for you. So we spun this thing a lot of times, probably for 20 minutes straight. And we got 2 full revolutions out of this pedal. This pedal became 2 revolutions tighter over that. You would do that while riding, so you would ride this bike for another half an hour and you would have a pedal that is no longer has any threads showing. You do probably, most riders are somewhere in the 70 to 100 RPM range. So you're gonna get this, kind of snugged up. It's never gonna tighten itself fully from mechanical precession, but it will prevent it from falling out. And on that note, thanks for joining us in this video. And as always, get out there, get your hands or your gloves dirty, continue to play with bikes, and we'll see you next time on the Park Tool YouTube channel.